Hello, friends. Welcome back, and thank you for joining me again as we take time this Holy Week to contemplate the 7 last words of Christ. We're taking this time because we have always understood that someone's last words are pretty significant. These are the things people wanted us to know before they were gone. They were important to them. Christians throughout the years have believed that we could also use these last statements by Jesus as a way of deepening our understanding of what was and is important to the heart of God. In this session, we get to contemplate the 4th of Jesus' last words. My God, why have you forsaken me? I don't know about you, but this question asked by Jesus on the cross has always been one of the harder things for me to come to terms with. I wonder if you grew up like I did, in that while you were told that Jesus was both fully God and fully human, the way your kid brain made sense of that was to treat Jesus' body as some sort of Halloween costume that God wore while walking around on the earth. Like me, you probably weren't taught that Christians rejected that idea centuries ago. And so to read these accounts of Jesus in pain and suffering, him in the Garden of Gethsemane is another example. So to read these accounts, they're probably initially a bit confusing. Wait, we say, why does Jesus feel like he's all alone? Doesn't he know that God is always with him? Friends, I think this is one of the most amazing things about our relationship with God. We claim and hold fast to the promise that there is no human experience that God has not known. And I'm not talking about the, well, of course God knows everything way of thinking. I'm talking about the fact that our feeble little brains are wired to believe people more when they've actually gone through something, as opposed to when they're just speculating. You know what I mean? So I think that, in fact, part of Jesus' incarnation was about exactly that. The theological father of the tradition I'm a part of, his name was John Calvin, liked to say that God condescended to us. In other words, God knew our brains couldn't take in the fullness of creation, let alone all of eternity and God's plans. And so God did things that would make it easier for us to understand and believe. Our God is condescending, and that's a good thing. And one of the results of that condescension is our ability to know that when we are feeling or experiencing anything, we can take that to God and God will know what to do with it. And so when we hear Jesus ask, "Why have you forsaken me?" we hear something familiar, don't we? We too have felt abandoned and alone. We too have looked at a situation or an experience and felt deeply and acutely like we just don't have it in us to make it through. I would be surprised if you weren't feeling some version of this right now. Millions of people across our nation and the world are grieving the loss of the way life has been, and we don't know what's to come. Millions of people are losing their jobs and are scared about what is to come. By the time it's all said and done, millions and millions of people will be hurt in one way or another by the coronavirus. And again, I would be shocked if you weren't asking God, like Jesus did, "Why have you forsaken us?" Sure, in our minds, we can tell ourselves that we haven't been forsaken, but it sure feels like it, doesn't it? Well, what I believe this last word from Christ has to say to us is that we need to take that feeling to God. Most every time Christians are together for worship, we say the Lord's Prayer, and that prayer ends with this sentence: "For the kingdom and the power and the glory are yours now and forever." And one thing we mean when we say that is we are acknowledging that God is the only one who can hold our fears and anxiety and turn them into joy and gladness. So friends, trust that Jesus intimately knows what you're feeling, even and especially when those feelings are hard and painful and scary. Jesus too cried out, asking why he was feeling abandoned. God can hold those fears and anxieties. God will hold them. And because God knows exactly what we are going through, we can be confident that whether we can sense it or not, God is right here with us.
desert shall rejoice and bloom, shall rejoice with gladness and song. The glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and the majesty of our God. And the ransom of the Lord shall return and come with the singing, and everlasting joy upon their heads, upon their heads. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf will be unstopped. The lame will leap like a deer, and the tongue of the speechless will sing for joy. And the ransom of the Lord shall return and come with the singing, and everlasting joy upon their head, upon their head. Then the waters shall break forth, and there will be streams in the desert, and they shall obtain joy and gladness, and the sorrow and the sighing will fade away. For the ransom of the Lord shall return and come